Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection 2? Nah, it's not. Um, I'd seen a funny post by Murdoink over at X, aka Twitter, and it was a funny post to me because it highlighted, I guess, the games everyone really want. I don't know how to properly say that, but um, I can say that yeah, this would be cool. This would be cool or whatever because we know that gold is not here. We don't have MK Gold, and everyone's up in shambles and rioting in the streets because we don't have MK Gold. And to be honest, I actually understand why due to the limitations, time, licensing, and everything. It does suck. I will admit it does suck. At least gold. I think gold would probably, you know, it won't eliminate all the problem, all the not problems, but all the people complaining because at the end of the day, there's people that want this picture here plus the picture they showed, you know, plus Gamescom trilogy, plus Tiger Electronics. There's people that want all this shit for $20 or free. Okay, they just want to complain, complain, complain. But in the I guess the bright side about it is like they're aware of this shit. I seen a video by Mortal Kombat Secrets, mksecrets.net, and they pretty much posted the interview with Dan Amrich from Digital Eclipse, and we'll go over that one shortly, where he pretty much explains the situation, which it sounds like a huge time restraint, license restraint, shit, maybe even technology restraint. But I know that ties in with the time because there's you can emulate PS2 games and modern hardware. I've done it myself on a Series X, actually Series S. So, but back to what I was saying, like gold not being in this collection does suck for sure. It does suck, especially when you have four, because it's like, I get it, but they kind of never told us gold was coming. They kind of never told us Shaolin Monks was coming, MK9 was coming, until they eventually started speaking to people. I think was that Evo? Yeah, it was during Evo. And I guess it goes back to my point about like the transparency thing. I think that if we would have got pretty much the trailer we got for Gamescom at the initial reveal, it would have changed a lot of people's thoughts or perception or expectations. Like if this collection was set in stone, this is the list, this is the games, you wouldn't be as disappointed. Okay, like because of the question marks and because all the secrets and the surprises and the drip feed of content, the drip feed of info, I think it sets people up for disappointment. It sets people up for it does. And unfortunately I've fallen for this. This has happened to me in other titles with other NRS games. You sit there, a NRS game gets announced, before you even know the base roster, they're showing you the first character in the DLC and the combat pack. So now you're like wondering what the roster is. You're wondering what the DLC that they want you to pay money for upfront right now, and then you start speculating shit that should be in the game, shit that should be happening, and then when they finally announce everything, you're like, oh, and now you're pissed. Same with this. They showed us a collection. It's a collection that everyone wanted, especially, well, really the diehard fans. All the diehard fans really want. They give us this collection, and then it's like, wow, this is amazing. Robat netcode online. This is actually coming out on all modern platforms. And then there's question marks, and then there's a lot of unanswered questions. So it's like, okay, like we didn't even know how much the thing costed. We didn't know. We still don't know the release date as of today, August 25th, 2025. Still don't even know a basic release date. Like that's kind of like the things I'm worried about. Like I get the gold. People are worried about gold. People are worried about PS2 era. People are worried about Shaolin Monks, MK9. It's like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What you're worried about is fair. But realistically, this is not going to come out with this collection. You might get gold. You might. Like, there's a chance you might get gold. But I'd rather just be in a separate collection. That way it'll uphold the value of the second one. And we can all argue the second one might be bigger. Who knows? It will be bigger in scope. Like, each of these games in this picture would take a long time to code and to emulate and to get it to work, especially if they want to do this rollback netcode. If they want to implement crossplay, like, that's a lot of work that I think people don't realize, especially like coming from Dead Alliance to Shaolin Monks to MK9 and Deception. I don't even see MK vs DC in this picture. That's the game I want to play. I want to play MK vs DC with rollback netcode. I would like to experience that game with proper internet and or proper netcode. I'm sorry, because man, that netcode back in the day was trash. But as I was saying, like, I do think the transparency or the communication should have just been up front from the beginning. I think that's where a lot of people are getting upset, because if this final collection or that last trailer we seen with all the games was the initial trailer, I think a lot of people's expectations would be set in stone already, because they could immediately answer, no, gold's not in it. It wasn't in the picture. It's not going to be in there. And they could have kept it pushing. You would need a combat tour. And the combat tour has been us people going there to try different titles at different weeks. 1 week is MK2, one's MK3, WaveNet, and the other one could be MK4 day, and then the last one could be all of them. I don't know, to play the whole fucking thing. I don't know. But I think the drip feed definitely set them up. I don't want to say them, but it definitely set up a lot of expectations for people that whether some are valid, some unrealistic, it set it up, because once you leave that door open and you don't deliver, people are just gonna fucking say whatever they say. It's I almost feel bad for them taking on this project, because man, to deal with the MK fan base, it's brutal. But I guess I'm gonna play that clip from Dan Amrich over at MK Secrets YouTube channel. I'm gonna play that clip and just listen to what he says. I didn't even watch the whole thing yet. Like, not 100%. I did like 97% of it. Just because, like, I just wanted to talk about it. It was a good talking point, and shout out to them for getting this. And shout out to the MK player that's playing this too. He was doing some dope shit on MK4. But yeah, I'm just gonna play it. Let him talk. Let him just listen to what he was saying about MK, like the games everyone's crying about. Basically, I don't want to say crying, but the games people demanding.
We brought out like another 20 games as DLC. Then we're bringing out some more DLC. There's nothing to say that this might not have DLC. Do we have a plan for that? No. Should you expect it? No. But is it possible? Yes. And if it's possible, we would look into some of the games that people have been asking for that might be technically possible. So there are technical restrictions too. Different hardware platforms. The PS5 and the Switch 1 are very different hardware platforms, and they have different capabilities. That is a factor too. Mm-hmm. There's also, how do we legally do emulation? There's things like BIOS files and things that we have to be able to be aware of. So it's not just a desire, and it's certainly not ignorance or on our part to say, well, who cares about that? Of course we care about that. But there are several factors, everything from legal to tech, that do factor into that. So that's why Mortal Kombat Gold is not in there. It's not that we didn't hear you asking. Mm-hmm. It's that we're not prepared to do it yet, but we want to get there. We just got to PlayStation. Dreamcast is in.
So he hears you. He knows you want it. He knows that they want it. They want it in their collection. Okay. They want this game. They just got the PS1, and it kind of also reveals, like, this thing kind of just started like a few months ago, less than a year ago, which is kind of not to toot our own horn, but we have a podcast. This thing originally started as a podcast, and we had an episode where it's called We Saved MK. Check it out on the channel. But we kind of talked about this Legacy Collection. We described it damn near to the T. I think we included gold, but I remember we said they should sell it in two parts, one through gold with the GBA and console versions, and they come out with a second one with pretty much PS2 era on up, all the way to the MK9. We said this, and this sounds like the time restraint. It lines up, man. Especially when you have to go through legal loopholes per console, per platform, per version, and who knows what other legal loopholes they have to go through within the game itself, whether it's music, art design, all that crap, you know. So he hears you. He hears you guys. All right, let's keep going.
On the horizon, right? Like obviously, how many great games would we be able to bring back to people if we could do a good Dreamcast emulation? So we're looking into it, but I would not say you should expect anything. You can hope for it because we're hoping for it, but we'll let you know. We'll let you know how far we get.
That would be great. So
you should not expect it. Now, this goes back to what I was saying. The expectation only kind of spawned, I should say. The expectation only spawned because the question marks. I'm sorry, the question marks really did it. I get it. They wanted it to be surprising. They wanted it to be hype, build hype. But I think this is something that there are other ways they could have built hype, in my opinion. I think that they could have showed us all games day one of the announcement, and they built up the hype for the release date, built up the hype for the collectors and premium edition. Then the actual tour itself, let people come and play it. And like, I think that would have been a lot easier. People are still gonna buy it. Holding out on Trilogy. Like, I still think popping Trilogy at Evo was too early. I think Trilogy should have been the one they just showed now. Trilogy with WaveNet, and then they should have showed Sub-Zero and Special Forces first, and saved Trilogy and WaveNet, in my opinion. But I think overall, just doing that little drip feed, I don't like it. Because I seen it coming. I seen it setting people up for failure. Because people are going to expect Shaolin Monks, Deception, and MK9 as the last three, and all this shit. And then they showed so many question marks, and then apparently the question marks didn't mean anything. And it's just so many, so much speculation. I think transparency is key. Because it's pissing people off. People are going to expect this now that I made a video about an apparent date leaked. It's supposed to be like September 30th. It leaked on Xbox. And, so now everyone thinks it has to be that day. I think it has to be that day now. Because anything later than that, I'm going to be pissed. If it says November, I'm going to be pissed. If it says October, I'm going to be pissed. Sooner, cool. But yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. But let's keep going. I'm going to play a little bit more of this and just talk about it.
hope is that the collection is so successful that you have no choice.
Right? Yeah, I would love that too. Please go out and support this financially, however you can, so that we can say, well, look, obviously there's a market for this, and we would like to be able to extend, our offerings. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
If you or a loved one.
All right. Before we get to the abusive ads, he kind of pulled the. Not gonna lie, he pulled the Capcom. I remember Capcom did this. They did the whole, if you buy this collection, we'll support Darkstalkers. Apparently no one bought the collection, I guess, because we don't see no fucking Darkstalkers. But I'm not saying they're gonna do that because they're not the ones making new Mortal Kombats. They're just more titles that people want. But I do think there's definitely some truth to that for sure. Like, if we support this picture will be true, for the most part. If we support this, you might get that gold port in the game as DLC. Who knows? I'd rather just be a separate game at this point, because you add DLC, and then it's going to be a thing where people want Shaolin Monks, and then they're going to call it Legacy Collection 2, and then people are going to complain and say, why wasn't this DLC in Collection 1? Blah, blah, blah. I'd rather just let your list, just stand on your list. If you add any ports, let it be things like the Genesis port, the Saturn ports, 64 ports. I'd rather that be DLC than port newer games or other games into the collection. If you want to port anything DLC, add like the grid or something like that. That would be more impressive. Um, like games like of that nature. You know, make it this like a low key midway arcade treasures type of thing. That'd be cool. But but overall, MK Legacy Collection 2 would have to be the thing where you guys get all the games you want, you know, in this picture. Shaolin Monk, honestly, Shaolin Monks could be its own separate release. That's how I think high of a demand Shaolin Monks is. I honestly believe that it could, but either way, MK Gold isn't coming, guys. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. You have MK4 arcade that literally can't be played properly. You know, I'm not even trying to show for it. It's going to be more of a cool thing to play that. People saying that they're going to skip on it. It's okay if they say that. I've seen people that Tom Brady. I would love to watch Tom Brady and learn from him in MK4. You know, but I think he said he was going to skip on it. You know, I saw a Twitter post about it. Whether he does or doesn't, I don't know. But either way, it would be cool. You know, but honestly, to be fair, I feel like everyone's attention is on the wrong things right now. That was the one big thing I want to get to before I close out this video. Yes, MK Gold would be great, but ultimately, I think that we need to talk about crossplay. Like crossplay needs to be like a top priority for this thing. Like being honest, we really need the crossplay, and the netcode has to be solid. Yeah, it says net rollback netcode, but how does it run when it's in a lobby? And that's another thing we don't know about lobbies. Like, is there rooms? Is it lobbies? Is it, you know, is it just a plain lobby? Is it a get your avatar walk around lobby? You know, it's just a lot of information I would like to know. I know that's more extracurricular shit that we don't need to know, but yeah, like I definitely want some lobbies and crossplay. I hope that comes ASAP. That would help a lot of people. I don't know if that was a smart business strategy to get people to buy multiple versions first and then drop the crossplay later, because they are dealing with WB. So you gotta remember that, guys. It's not just on Digital Eclipse. Digital Eclipse is just doing the dirty work. Okay, they're doing the groundwork right now, and WB's the one making these weird puppeteer decisions, honestly. Because I've seen everything that you guys are pissed at. I've seen and experienced with the mainline NetherRealm titles. So, and the shills always told me it's WB's fault. So I'm gonna point at WB again. That's all I'm gonna do. But yeah, like I think that's what I'm more worried about, like crossplay and lobbies and the overall performance of the emulation and online. Like, I don't want a Fightcade experience. I don't know if you guys played on Fightcade. I hate playing on Fightcade. You know, with the lag, the delay. You know, people say, "Oh, that's rollback," but it's like there's no proper lobby system. You're just in there with a bunch of foreigners, and it's just there's no region locking. It's just there's no matchmaking, nothing. You know, I want a ranked system. I want a proper ranking system. I want like Tekken's ranking system. I want something like that. I want some type of MMR thing where you just grind to rank up, and we have a lobby, King of the Hill lobby, whatever you want to call it, or maybe even like a room, like a chat room, and crossplay. I think that's what I really want for this thing to really prosper for the, you know, in the long run. And then, you know, and when we host tournaments on the channel, it'd be a lot easier for us too, you know, to bring people together, build a community on this game, and just keep it going. But that's all I had today. I just really want to talk about this MK Gold. Put a quick clip of the interview with Dan Amrich, and shout out to the MK Secrets for posting that. That was dope. I'm gonna post a link to that video in the description. You guys can watch the full thing. But next gen nostalgia is out, baby. Peace.